came from a very humble background. He had a speech impediment growing up. He wanted to be a professor of the English language. He attempted for the Indian Administrative Service but couldn't make it because of fate and chance. He is one of the best people to have happened to the Indian legal fraternity. Welcome to the Monday Motivation series. I am Tanya from Legal Edge, and we are going to talk about none other than Mr. Nani Palkiwala. The Nani Palkiwala's story is one of pure grit, determination, and hard work. He's an inspiration to every person who wishes to join the legal fraternity. Has it been judges or even opponent lawyers before whom he argued? Anybody who ever saw Mr. Palkiwala present a case was in awe of him. In fact, people used to come from faraway places just to witness him speak. But this success story of becoming one of the most well known and well renowned lawyers in the legal fraternity did not happen overnight. In fact, becoming a lawyer was not even his first choice. He wanted to be a professor of English language, but because the university preferred someone with a little more experience, he did not get to fill that position. In fact, his next attempt was to be part of the Indian Administrative Service. Again, due to fate and chance, he did not get an opportunity to even give the exam in the first place for which he had prepared for. Did any of these let be a deterrent in his path to success? No. Mr. Palkiwala finished his law and joined the chamber of a senior counsel. He started his journey very young, but full of determination and passion towards the work he was going to pursue. At the very young age of 30, he even took out a publication on the taxation law. In fact, the book is so well researched and so well written that even today, several editions of the book are still in the running. In fact, it was not many years post that he started appearing before the Honorable Supreme Court itself, which is a big deal for a lawyer as young as Mr. Palkiwala was back then. In fact, he has been part of some of the most groundbreaking constitutional law decisions that were taken for the country. Cases such as Keshwananda Bharti, Minerva Mills case, the bank nationalization case, FN Balsara case were all cases where Mr. Palkiwala astounded the judges and turned the way how we interpret and protect fundamental rights today. He had brilliant oratory skills. His advocacy was persuasive. His writing was stunning, well researched, and thorough. It is not often that somebody writes books and several books are written on the person themselves. In fact, I would strongly recommend that if you get a chance, do read A Courtroom Genius, written by renowned authors Mr. Arvind P. Dattar and Soliji Sarabji themselves. They will give you a complete insight about this man in making. But today's video is not just about the success story of Mr. Palkiwala. Today's video is discovering how did this boy who had a stutter growing up became the person who gave flawless arguments before the Honorable Supreme Court. There is a book by Mr. Malcolm Gladwell called The Outliers. In this book, he discusses the rule of 10,000 hours. The rule essentially states that if you want to be perfect at something, these are the number of hours you need to put into it. If somebody runs a marathon in a minute, they have spent 10,000 hours perfecting their time zone to bring it to a minute. If somebody plays the piano for a session flawlessly, they have spent 10,000 hours perfecting each note behind that. The truth is, if there was a man who is to be held to that standards, who has proved this theory successful, as you would also find in the analogy of the book The Courtroom Genius, it was Mr. Palkiwala himself. As I said in the video before, he did not have the inclination for law. He did not have any godfather or senior advocates waiting to give him a seat on the bar. He did not have the speech flow that the lawyers of today are raised with. But what he did have was pure passion for the work that he did and a lot of hard work and determination. He used to pour hours and hours over each case before he went to the court to argue it. In fact, There is an instance where he had to argue a case in another city, and right up to the airport, he kept reading and rereading the brief till he had it down perfectly. And that is the story of success that we want you students to listen to. We want you to understand that if you have the kind of grit and the dedication for your dreams, there is absolutely nothing that can stand in the way of your success. He was not an overnight success. There were several elements that went into making who he eventually became. He was punctual, he was a stickler for time, he did not believe in wasting his nor anybody's time, but more importantly, he was disciplined. He was focused towards the task that he aimed for. He used to plan and strategize his work so he could derive the conclusion and the result out of it that he had set out for. When he used to argue in front of the courts, it was like he was communicating an idea. He used to make the most complicated and difficult concepts of law seem so easy as if anybody could have had a grasp of it. It was his hours of studying and his focus towards these arguments that gave him this skill set. In fact, it was very rare that he ever carried a piece of paper to remember his arguments. He had already prepared his brief so thoroughly that he did not require any assistance to his memory. In fact, it was not just these skill sets that set him apart from the crowd. It was his humility and modesty, the way he treated his juniors or seniors, and in fact, even his opponents, that showed that Palkiwala had not only taken success by a storm, he also knew how to handle it. Remember the professor who got the position instead of him at his dream college? It turns out he had offered dinner to her as a gesture because of the number of fields and options that he had opened for her now. This story is not a lesson in history. This story is not even a lesson about legal professionalism. This story is not to intimidate you about the heights a person can achieve in the field, and maybe we aren't there. This story is a scientific proof. This story is a living instance. This story is a remembrance that you too, if you wish to, just cross this journey of hard work and determination, have success waiting for you on the other side. This story is a reminder that no matter what kind of obstacles life, fate, or chance might throw at you, if you have decided that you are going to put in the hours for your dream, there is no way that you are not going to achieve that dream. This story is not just about one of the greatest men to have ever joined the legal fraternity, although it is. But this story is an inspiration to every person who can recognize that sometimes talent works better when talent works harder. You already have the capabilities in you to achieve whatever it is that you're aiming for. All you need is the kind of focus, discipline, and hard work, and we are going to see you on the other side at your dream colleges. This is all from Legal Edge. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like such content, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll keep churning out such stories to inspire, motivate you. Follow us on our Instagram and our Telegram channels. You're going to get a lot of interesting updates, and we hope to see you soon.